That our electoral process has become so chaotic and disorderly is a matter for deep regret, especially when the process has been running uninterruptedly for close to 24 years, since 1999. Now, supplementary elections that ordinarily should run without hiccups have unfortunately put almost everybody on the edge. In Adamawa State, the home of the PDP presidential candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the supplementary polls raised the national adrenaline when collation of the results got suspended for a second time. Observers have called for an investigation of INEC staff over alleged conspiracy, and both Governor Ahmadu Fintiri and Senator Aishatu Binani, governorship contenders of the PDP and APC respectively, have sued for calm. Let's give you some updates about the election in Anambra State. I can't wait for it. Let's go there.
Announcements of the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate as winner by the state's resident electoral commissioner may have upset the seeming political setting in Adamawa State. Collation of the election results slated for 11 a.m. was halted after 10 of the 69 polling units' results were announced by the state returning officer. However, the resident electoral commissioner, Hudu Hari, came to the collation center to announce the APC governorship candidate winner of the poll.
Based on the poll of the parties, the APC scored the highest vote. And by that, Aishatu Binani is hereby hereby stand as elected as the governor of Adamawa State.
The PDP and APC supporters have reacted to the announcement. Both the PDP candidate, Governor Ahmadu Fintiri, and the APC counterpart, Aisha Binani, have called for calm.
When we are waiting for the resumption of the coalition, the REC this morning took up a tax he is not constitutionally empowered to do by making an illegal announcement of the outcome of the election without result.
My dear Adamawa State citizens and residents, I am overwhelmed and humbled by your show of love and confidence in electing me to serve as your governor as from May 29 this year and for the next 4 years.
My message to all the APC and the supporter of our governor candidate, Senator Aishatu Binani, is everyone should calm down. Everybody should calm down. And I want to assure every one of us, since our leaders are involved, our mandate will not be stolen.
As at the time of filing this report, the returning officer, Professor Mohammed Mele, and the two supervising national commissioners are yet to arrive at the collation center and could not be reached. INEC National Office has suspended the collation of results of the rerun election, while security has been beefed up as tension is mounting in the state. Meanwhile, the acting national chairman of the ruling People's Democratic Party described it as a coup against the people's mandate and thus called on relevant security agencies to arrest the REC before angry citizens set the state on fire.
Just to announce that Asokwa James has taken a breather, we have GKB joining us. GKB, welcome.
Thank you.
I hear the traffic kept you busy.
Yeah, Lagos just been Lagos. There will not be Lagos without traffic.
Okay. Yep. GKB, we are discussing the trouble in Adamawa State. And you have an attitude, you know, and how do you react to what's playing out in Adamawa State?
Well, first, let us look at it this way. There's a Yoruba proverb. The child that said the mother will not sleep. It will not sleep.
Enjoy sleeplessness.
I think somebody has stepped on the cable wire in Adamawa. And until the result is officially given to us, we just have to wait and see. Because yesterday when it was announced, and then the reaction came very quickly. It was the first time in a long time that INEC will intervene in state matters at that level. Because normally it will take a couple of hours to rise. But when it came immediately, I know something was afish. So based on that reality, I said, by the end of work today, we'll know exactly where we are going. But I agree with the governor and the challenger. There should be calm. Yeah. Because chaos will not solve this problem. Only cool heads can do that for us.
Jide, and a wise man said, one poignant lesson of history is that man hardly learns from history. So here we are again.
One poignant reality.
Reality of history is that man hardly learns from history.
That's why they say we are insane.
So supplementary elections didn't just hold in Adamawa, even in Akwa Ibom State.
Yes.
Yeah, and some other states.
There were just less than 100,000 votes that we are talking about here.
Collectively?
Yes, in that state, I think about 37,000 or so votes. And the elections went peacefully in the 20 local governments. Results from 10 local governments had been
filed in,
collated and announced. They were waiting for 10 more. And time had been set since Saturday night when the remaining results will be collated, and the winners in the respective local governments will be announced. Suddenly, this man in the picture materialized on the scene and says, "Oh, I'm the wreck. Therefore, because I'm the wreck, this is the result. This is the." You cannot announce a result before the process has ended.
Yeah.
And that is my takeaway from even the statement issued by INEC. So that was a prompt response to the nonsense that was happening there.
Very prompt.
Very prompt. This is the sort of INEC that we want to see. Not an INEC that shilly-shallies on issues to the point that people can then decide in their heart that, oh, INEC must be biased. INEC has to be decisive. There's no need to waste time. Follow the law, take the appropriate decision. And yesterday we saw INEC coming out with that statement that, look, this guy, we have received report that the REC,
that's the Resident Electoral Commissioner.
Yes, the Resident Electoral Commissioner announced the winner of the election before the process was over.
Yeah.
The world is watching. I don't know why we have individuals who behave like this. I've always said that there are bad eggs in INEC. After the off-season elections of 2019, I've been saying that there are bad eggs in INEC who will not follow INEC's rule book. For example, the rule book of INEC says wherever voting is characterized by violence, no result shall be returned
from those areas.
The polling stations concerned. But in those off-season elections, even in places where it was clear that violence reared its head, some INEC staff still went ahead and returned winners from those polling units. That is flagrant disobedience to guidance, to INEC's rule book, INEC's guidelines. I'm not surprised that the man with the funny white beard that we are seeing now reminds me of a governor in the Northwest, came to aggregate powers that he did not possess. If this person were to be president, he's going to turn himself to a Louis XVI.
I'm the state.
who looked at people and said, let's start somewhere.
Let us somewhere. The state is
I'm
mine.
the state. I am the state. Louis XVI, he said, I am the state. Let's start somewhere. He said, by the powers conferred on me, no power conferred on you the position of returning officer. When INEC decided that, okay, returning officers shall be the ones to handle governorship election and the rest. INEC knew what it was doing, though, because the REC is a permanent staff.
Okay.
Some stay in the same place for up to 3 years. During that time, or even more, during that time, they will have fraternized with politicians of all shades and all complexions.
And colors, yeah.
And they will have their favorites. Or how is it pronounced? Favorites. Because you people are the anchor, me are innocent. They will tell them, they will have fraternized and had friends among them. They will have benefited tremendously from a lot of those. So it was decided that, okay, the ROs, the returning officers, shall be people from elsewhere. In Lagos here, they brought the VC of Futa. They brought the woman, no, Futa, that's in Akure.
Akure, yeah.
Yes. They brought the VC of Futa. She has not worked there. The politicians probably didn't know her. Or if they knew her, at least they didn't know her sufficiently.
Yeah.
As much as they would have known the REC that they've been seeing. They may even belong to the same club with the REC and all that. So this is what it is meant to achieve. And the REC has no power to order the RO to do this, to do that.
The procedures are clear.
They're clear. You can't know the announcement. Wait for the person who coordinated the process that delivered the first 10 local governments. Why would you usurp his powers? I mean, this is ridiculous. Look at the shame that they've subjected everybody to. Now, some of our friends are saying, hey, we told you, it was the same thing that happened on February 25. They know in their hearts that they are being dishonest. This sort of thing never happened in February 25. In fact, I can't recall that this ever happened.
Any REC.
At any time that a REC came in and said, no,
REC was reckless.
No, this was a very reckless, white-bearded REC. And I'm happy. One of the reports that I had today is that INEC has said it should stay away from duty.
Yeah.
So which means someone else will do his job for now. It's a very shameful thing.
Gani, even more shameful is the fact that politicians in our environment have become Machiavellian.
Yeah. I think the ends justify the means because the system have not punished those who do evil.
At
sufficiently
all.
enough.
Yeah.
Because normally, my people will say that if the land continues to bless the wicked and not the honest, sooner or later you get tired of being honest.
Yeah.
That's why I think politicians who even want to do the right thing no longer want to. Because they realize that those who do evil were rewarded by the system. And once you've done that on 2 or 3 electoral cycles, if you can beat them, you join them. And that is the danger because we survived the last 22 years, not because our elections were perfect, but people are willing to give the process a chance. I think we are moving to a very dangerous territory where people are going for broke and they don't really care because all they want is power, all they want is to get it, and they are so sure that at the end of the day, they will still keep the power they get in the wrong way.
And yet we say one way of inventing tomorrow is to create it.
Yeah. Nobody, the countries that people run to were created by people who believe in the system. They did not become that place overnight. The moment you stop obeying traffic laws, that's when it starts. Then you graduate to other things.
Yeah.
And before you know it, a lot of impunity will come up and nobody will obey the law. And, a country without laws is a country without punishment.
Yeah.
And Nigeria is moving to that area. Like Nigeria said, if we don't quickly stem this in the bud, punish the man, let it be seen that the man was punished. Another person will try it.
By now, they should be thinking of arraigning him.
Yeah.
Do you
Because
think
I think Guinea did something like that.
Yeah,
There was a returning officer who connived with who rigged the election for political party. Guinea put him on trial.
Yeah.
And he was convicted.
He was convicted,
so
yeah.
what will gladden people's hearts is immediately INEC is through with his preliminary investigations and all that. They should hand him over to the police and then let the investigation continue. Those who are saying maybe he was given money and all that, let it be investigated and let him be put on trial.
I was going to ask specifically, do you think we are paying for not punishing bad behavior at all?
Even the topic that we discussed earlier, how many bandits have you seen put on trial? How many Boko Haram men? Yeah, apart from Kabiru Sokoto, the Christmas Day bomber, how many Boko Haram men have you seen put on trial? So, I mean, this is the truth.
No consequences.
All right. All right. Welcome back, Jide. We were talking about punishing bad behavior. You know, that will send a message, and who knows?
You know, also the observers, for example, they said that even the secrecy of ballots is no longer guaranteed in Nigeria. Every voter should be able to use the cubicle that protects him even from anybody giraffing, you know. But in some polling centers, no provision was made for such cubicles. So people can see you as you mark
on thumbprint.
Yes, or you thumbprint the candidate of your choice.
Oh, yeah.
And then harassment and all that will result from that. So we should be able to deal with some of these little infractions here and there. INEC has a duty to ensure that those cubicles are in place so that the voter is called a secret ballot. Oh. But if I have to vote in the open, if I can't hide
my
choice from you, it's dangerous. So they are saying that a lot of 25 polling units that the voting cubicles were not installed. So nothing like secrecy is not guaranteed. Then they also want security agents involved in gross misconduct because politicians do their best to compromise not just INEC staff,
the system.
Not just INEC staff, but even security. Yeah. I've seen a security person, a policeman, helping a politician to share money to people voting. It's not an exaggeration. As they were voting, it was the policeman peeping at who they were voting for and sharing the money.
Paying.
Yes, just giving them the money like that. Because the politician, they use, if they say vote buying is illegal, but where a policeman helps the politician to buy votes, what do? That means we are not ready to put an end to vote buying.
Is that us, Gani?
Yeah, politicians are part of us. Policemen are part of us.
Okay.
We must all agree that the system is not working. Because we keep making laws. Because I remember back in the 83, 79 era, the cubicle was constructed solely for the election. I don't think, of course, we are more now. We are about 93 million voters now. That may become impractical. But something like that needs to be done that you know, even if you are going to use schools, open spaces, you can still do cubicles that are collapsible, that you can bring back in 4 years for use.
Yeah, when you say 93 million voters, you say in India, it would have been more chaotic?
Indians do fights, but they make sure the margin. Don't forget, it's a parliamentary system.
Yeah.
So all elections were local. So local policemen, of course, will get involved. Local military will get involved. But we are talking now about our national elections. And we seem to have this problem more in off-season or postponed elections, where all eyes will be on that particular election. People do worse when it's national, because policemen will be spread thin. But now we have enough to face one person. Our young should come out today.
All right, GKB, BKO, we have Adekunle reaching us from Ore. I greet you, Adekule. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Good evening.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Abajide.
Good evening.
And Mr. Gani, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Please, let me make my contribution. Mr. Babajide just said something now about compromising the INEC staff and the security agents. But we are not looking at even the party agents. At the polling booths, party agents are also compromised. You will see a party agent from a particular party, of which the party is paying them about 30,000 naira for the duty to be performed at that polling agent. And the other party pay 10,000 naira to their own party agent. But getting there, the party that paid 30,000 naira will give the party that was giving, the agent that was giving 10,000 naira, you understand, his own 30,000 naira. And the two of them will just go the same way, and they will compromise the election.
Business.
So in some cases, where they are saying that election was rigged and all that.
All right, Kule, many thanks. Many thanks.
Yeah, that can only be done in areas where a particular party
is dominant.
Yeah.
Where they are evenly matched.
Yeah, no.
But do you know, it provokes the question, where do we go from here?
We must look to the future with hope. We can't go back. Yesterday's history. We have to be focused. We have to tell ourselves that we will be better than we are today. Our future must be better. I believe that Beavers has been a game changer. No matter the reservations that people have about this election, I can tell you this election produced a lot of surprises that I have never seen. You know, I hardly take
some results.
I hardly take Reno or mockery seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the other day was saying that, yes, I know members of my party don't want to hear this, but the election that produced Tinubu is better than previous election. That's a man whom we all know is not Tinubu's friend. But he saw some things that happened in the February 25 election. And we must tell ourselves that we must never go beyond that standard.
Yeah.
What blighted that election was the fact that INEC went against his own rule that it will transmit in real time. But INEC claims that there were hitches and all that they were trying to transmit and it wasn't working, especially for the presidential election. Many Nigerians still do not believe. They believe that they wanted to rig. And the fact that 20 governors did not deliver their states does not still convince people that that election was better than previous elections. All they say is the worst in our history.
And some governors...
How many elections have some of the people saying that sin in their lives?
Some are just
some governors who wanted to go to the National Assembly.
They couldn't. Seven of them.
Yeah.
Seven that I know.
Yeah.
They couldn't. In the past, people were saying that National Assembly is the place where governors retire.
Retirement home.
How many governors
Got the tickets.
got the ticket this time to the National Assembly? How many? Because this was an election where even people without godfathers, they found a way to win.
Oh, yeah.
In Enugu today, the House of Assembly is dominated, based on the election that we had, is dominated by Labour Party.
Yeah.
Yet the ruling party is PDP. PDP couldn't dominate the assembly. That's to tell you that things are changing.
An Okada rider won.
But they keep saying it's the worst election. Why are people just like this? Worst how?
The upside to me, like Kide said, is basically that.
Worst how?
How
do you keep saying it's the worst?
Those people who somebody with 35 complain about the worst election. Yeah. How many elections have you seen? You are a little boy. You are saying the worst election in Nigerian history. How much of Nigerian history do you know?
Compared to which one?
2007.
2007, 2003. 2003 was the year that the result of the election in Ogun State the result that PDP, Obasanjo's PDP got was higher than the number of registered voters. I was at the Supreme Court when it was decided. I covered the election at the Supreme Court.
No, it was the election that Rivers State had 2 million voters, and everybody voted. Everybody.
And it was a rainy day. It was a rainy day. I'm happy you remember this.
Everybody voted. Nobody was sick.
Those were days when people just sat down and wrote figures.
Oh, yeah.
You are now telling us that this one is the worst. How is it the worst?
All right, I hear we must go.
You are just dishonest.
Ours is just to, well, we are setting agenda. We are molding opinion based on what comes to us. Let me thank BKO for coming.
Thank you.
And
Thank
Gani,
you for coming too.
better luck next time.
No, it will not happen again. Lagos has shown me. And I was born here.
Don't be too sure it won't happen again. I spent 5 hours in traffic going home.
The next time I'm coming at 7 in the morning.
Commissioner for Information, his house is just here in Lausa. It took him about 3 hours to get to this place.
Yeah.
From his office in Lausa here? Which is even worse than your own.
All right, that's it.